Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Loulou Storey podcast, where style meets soul, a place to inspire you on your own journey of becoming and self expression. Through conversations with inspiring women, we will uncover what it is to truly show up as ourselves and the tricks and tips to build a wardrobe and style we love so you can always feel at peace in your skin, be visible, and thrive as yourself. And on today's show, I am very excited to say that I have Ally Cappelino, incredible bag designer, with us. Thank you very much for joining me, Ally.
Nice to be here.
It's so exciting. I have used your bags for my clients over the years so often. And when I was messaging you, I have to say I was keeping everything crossed you would say yes. So I'm so pleased to have you here today. For anyone that doesn't know about your amazing bag brand, how would you describe the bags that you make?
We describe them as practical, stylish, long lasting, don't go out of fashion.
They really don't. I mean, I think they're so practical for anyone. I always use them for clients who maybe have got the commute to do, but they live maybe in a more kind of creative world. They live in a very functional world. Out of the bags that you own, which style do you use most often? What's the one that you grab?
Whatever is the latest sample that we're sort of working
Yeah.
on, probably.
And what are you working on at the moment?
Spring 26? No, autumn 26.
And have you got
Yeah.
colors that are, where does it all kind of come from? Are you somebody that's quite traditional? Do you put out the vision board? How do you?
It's all in my head, a lot of it. But then I cut up little bits of tiny swatches and sort of fiddle around with putting colours together. And I should say I don't know, they just grow. It's always an evolvement from what you've had enough of in the past and what you haven't had for a little
Mhm.
while. Some things just seem fresh at the time.
Mm.
I try not to take any notice of what's the theoretical trend at any one time because I don't really care.
And I think that's why you speak to so many, because you are creating something that is authentic rather than it being, reactionary to what else is going on around it.
Mm,
And even just things that inspire me with the bags that you make is like, even just I was thinking today, like I put on my little lilac earring, and you often have those little lilac touches on like zips or your pieces.
yeah.
That attention to detail I really appreciate.
I think the zips are a really nice thing to sort of add a little bit of extra zizz
Mm.
sometimes. Although next season coming up, which I suppose is spring, we've sort of increased our core colours, and in fact, what we've made them is absolutely drenched in one colour, which also for us is quite new.
Yeah, yeah, really exciting. A bit like the kind of color drenching, in interiors that's happening a lot at the moment.
Yeah.
Has quite a lot of visual impact then.
Yeah, I think it has. For us, it's really different, but for other people, they might have been always doing it. I don't know.
That's really exciting. But this show is all about the kind of history of where our identity and kind of love of clothes and style first came from. So I would really love to dive in and ask you, was there a piece of clothing or an item or maybe an accessory that you first owned that you look back at now and you think, oh, that made me feel like me for the first time? Is there anything that stands out?
Well, when I was very little, I remember my mum making me a tartan sort of what do you call it? What do you call a sleeveless dress?
Like a vest or a waistcoat?
But it was a dress. It
Oh,
was a
like a
dress,
pinafore?
a pinafore.
Yeah.
It had a V-neck and a zip up the back, and it was sort of bluey green tartan or something. And she made it in an evening. I was so proud that she made it in an evening. I remember I had a sort of little gold two horses leaping brooch that somebody gave me. I think a granny or something. So that's one of the things that I remember noticing at the time.
Mm.
Must have been 5 or 6. But then I got into making clothes very young. When I was about 13, I started making clothes. I got really into it. I used to sell them to all the kids at school. I've got a rough book with my orders in them.
And what kind of orders were you getting? Was it for more of the pinafores, or what was it for?
Well, a lot of trousers for the boys. And then I remember making a jacket and not really understanding how to put the sleeve head in a jacket, and so I stretched all the excess fabric underneath the arm rather than putting it over the top. But I used to buy sort of patterns from dressmaking shops and stick them on top of each other and sort of adapt them to each other.
Wow. And was your mum there kind of guiding you and helping you, or did you kind of?
No, I think she ignored me after a bit. I used to get up early in the morning and chop things out on the floor of the bedroom.
Wow. So one of my questions was going to be, when did you first kind of think about becoming a designer? But it sounds like it kind of chose you.
Well, I think when I was at school, I was at the sort of school where they thought you should go to university if you could get the
Yeah.
grades. And they sort of said, with your grades, you could go to university and stuff. But I couldn't find anything that I wanted to do. There was only history of art. So the alternative was polytechnics at the time. Anyway, I decided to go to art school. And I also was feeling quite snobbish about clothing because it's like clothing is a vanity. And I was hoping that I would want to become a sculptor or something like that. But and I went to York Art School for foundation, and they had a decent room with a few sewing machines in it. And so then I started to apply to colleges for fashion.
And when did the bags kind of come on the scene? When did it evolve?
Well, so the clothing started in 1980,
Okay.
straight out of college, really. Bags started in 2000.
Tell me about the clothes. Did they have any link back to that original pinafore that you first remember and you first felt like you?
The first collection we did in 1980 had a reference to the Moscow Olympics. Which that year was very controversial because um, lots of countries pulled out because of atrocities. That got headlines actually. Not quite sure why, but it was just an all over print of sort of stolen out of geography books and books about swimming and things like this, just a black and white print. And then I think I'd always been interested in sort of utility, like there used to be a place called Lawrence Corner that people used to go to for secondhand army and army surplus stuff. So I'm very influenced by that sort of things made for a purpose. Like, you could really raise your arm up in these shirts because they had a lot of space underneath, or if they were meant for keeping you warm, or, they were made for a purpose and very strongly made. And I still love things like that.
Do you still have a lot of the clothes that you used to make, or how do you kind of?
Yeah, I still have quite a lot, but we actually went bust in 1999. I started the business with my ex and we sort of built it up over that time. But then we fell apart as a family and that basically ripped the business we sort of had different values gradually. Yeah, so that was sort of, but during that time in the 80s, the look that we did was quite English. Lots of tweeds, lots of corduroy, lots of sort of cotton fabrics, like with, again, pretty practical. And then during the 90s, it sort of got a bit less traditional and more modern. I'd say I've sort of got both those sides of me. I've got the traditional references, but also the cleaner sort of 90s.
Hi everyone, it is Loulou Storey. I hope you're enjoying this episode, but I just wanted to jump on and say that I am a style coach working with women every day to help them understand themselves better, to reclaim their identity and know how to step forward into their lives with confidence, clarity. And if you're struggling, please don't struggle any further. Get in touch. I have availability for words consultations, and I have a waiting list for one-to-one client work. So if you'd like to join that waiting list, then do check out the show notes below and we can add you to that and book in a call as when I have availability. All right, back to the show. And do you do much shopping yourself now?
Can help it. Do I do much shopping?
Do you add more new things to your wardrobe?
I like secondhand shops.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of good places around my way. I like things that aren't everywhere. Last thing I bought new, probably buy trainers more than anything.
Yeah. What brands do you like to?
I don't mind. I think I would like to have one of those little Puma pairs now. Yeah, I think that's where I spend my money if I've any.
I love the idea of things finding you, though. I talk a lot about serendipity within style and how important
Yeah,
it is. I think when you lean into, you've got to be practical, you've got to plan what you need. And like you say, things that maybe,
I'm not practical and I don't plan what I need, but I do recycle
yeah.
what I've got quite a lot in different ways.
And having those skills that you must have as a dressmaker, you're able to really adapt things or fix things, I'm sure.
Yeah, I, I, I probably am. I tend to sort of, I do it with colour more than anything else, I think. I'm very matchy matchy.
Yeah.
The socks have to be working as hard as whatever else there is.
I think that's a really good tip, though. I think a lot of people forget about those small touches, the kind of consideration of how your socks fit into your whole wardrobe. I think that is, a really important part.
Well, it is for me. It's not for everybody, but yeah, I, 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 I wear socks pretty much as saying something all the time.
Do you start your outfit from a sock? Would you ever pull out a pair of socks?
Have done. I have
Yeah.
done.
Where do you normally start your outfit? What's you got? A blue? Yeah, see that blue looks lovely.
I believe.
Yeah, really, really nice.
Trouble is, I think there's a cashmere content to these, and they keep shrinking.
I love a bit of cashmere around my feet, though. As I'm getting older, my feet are definitely. So it sounds like clothes have always played a very kind of practical role in your life.
But yeah, but also mental role. I mean, I get really upset if I can't make something work, and I can't go out if I can't get it to sort of feel right.
So you've got to feel like things are in balance, aligned with how you are feeling today.
So no, it just has to be reflective of how you feel.
And do you normally start with one item, or is it colors? How does the outfit build?
I don't know. Probably starts with, can I wear that again today, or does it need it wash?
I have heard of this like technique where you take one item from the day before into the next day and you style it in a new way, and every day you take a piece from the previous day. Would that
Yeah, I don't need that much stress, I don't think, to do that. I mean, sometimes if I'm on a run with something, I'll wear it all week, and and other times I sling it out and start again the next day.
mm,
I don't think I don't think a regular pattern. You might want to talk to Danielle, who's working with me.
she'll tell me.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'll ask her anyway. See if
Do you miss designing clothes?
miss the sort of the challenges of tailoring and things like that.
Hmm.
And I suppose I like problem solving with patterns and whatnot. I made my daughter a skirt for her birthday the other day, which I don't think she'll wear, but it was
What was it like?
it's quilted fabric that sort of big pleats sort of sticks out. It's quite fun.
Have you seen it on her? Has she tried it yet?
She sent me a photo this morning. Yeah.
So cool. Did you make a lot of her clothes growing up?
Yes, yes, quite a lot when they're toddlers, when they're sweet and cute, but then they get their own ideas after 5 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And were you quite encouraging of them?
She grew up in the time of the Spice Girls.
Yeah. Yeah. That was me as well. I was a very Spice Girl.
So you've cropped up onto.
I had my big chunky platforms on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was always, there's a lot of items that I look back that I wish I'd had a pair of Docs when I was young. And I've got a daughter now who's 10, and I made sure that, she was asking for a pair of Docs. I made sure she got a pair because I remember that longing for something when I was younger.
Yeah. I'd quite like a pair of Docs, I suppose. I'm just a bit worried that they take a bit of wearing in.
Well, yeah, I have to say, I don't know if you can fit into a kid's size pair of Docs, I would encourage it because my daughter's hair are so soft. They're so buttery.
Uh,
They really are not hard at all. Whereas I ended up eventually getting a pair of Docs and I couldn't wear them in.
Yeah. No, because your feet get more sensitive, don't they? I
Yeah.
think as you get.
I have to say I wear a lot of Grenson boots, which I do.
I do. You see, I think leather soles I find quite hard work
Yeah,
now.
these have all like I've got a pair that've got a vibrant sole.
Oh, okay,
Great.
yeah.
And we've just got a dog, so I need functionality in my life while I'm walking on the South Downs.
Where do you live?
I live in Brighton.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're in East London, am I right?
Yeah, I'm in Hackney,
Yeah.
yeah.
How long have you been in Hackney?
21 years.
And how has it changed during your time there?
Well, we've got a Michelin star across the road.
How often are you popping in there for your lunch most days?
Been there once. I don't know. I'm sort of a bit of a home cook, really.
Yeah. Does your creativity go into your food?
Yeah.
What was on last night's dinner? What did you?
Oh, I don't think I cooked it last night. What was it? I know it was some pasta.
We got quite creative and did fish tacos last night actually.
Fish
Yeah,
tacos.
it was very tasty. So why do you think that the brand, despite having had the kind of challenges, obviously in the kind of late 90s, early 2000s, why do you think the brand has endured for so long?
Because I'm an old battle axe that won't let go.
And is that your top tip for any other entrepreneurs and designers out there?
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's not a huge business. It could do with growing a bit bigger to be able to support a proper. It's really quite small now. It's been bigger. It's been smaller. I mean, I've grown it quite a bit over the last 2 years. There's a load of story that I don't think you want that we don't want to particularly go into, but I'm just quite tenacious, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I've never really worked for other people.
Mm.
And I like the I like the having a little team. I hate working on my own.
What are you most proud of?
I think as a brand, because because the stuff is sort of it's hand downable from generations for one thing, and kids kind of aspire to having their parents' versions quite often. I mean, I know a few people who've had the hand-me-downs and then gone on to get their own afterwards. It's a kind of an acquired taste. I don't think people get it straight away, but I think once you have them, they grow on you. So it's
I mean, I also think it's even just what I'm always struck by when I look at your stuff. And even when I was on your site not that long ago, but I feel like there's even been updates recently, was the innovation that you have. So again, I can really sense what you were saying about that kind of timelessness, not following trends, yet you're definitely pushing forward. Like even that kind of collapsible rucksack, I forwarded it to my sister who's up in Leeds, who's just had a baby, and I was like, this would be great for you. So you're obviously always as well trying to kind of keep your finger on the pulse with innovation.
yeah. I mean, I'm interested in innovation, and I'm interested in the construction. Um, and the sort of ergonomics, I suppose, sort of not putting a seam where a seam isn't needed and something which wants to be simple. But on the other hand, I guess a bit of gratuitous fun is also due at times. I mean, a lilac backpack is probably a bit of a whim for somebody, but I don't know.
Well,
It still does the job.
the lilac one you did in pink, and that was probably one of the first pieces that I
Yeah.
suggested to a client. I had a client who I should say, one of the head choreographers for some of the West End shows. And so she needed something that brought, life into the studio,
Yeah.
hardware,
Oh,
and
that's
she needed
nice.
all her kit in her bag.
Yeah.
And she was very feminine, very girly, but we needed this function. So your bag just hit the nail. It was so perfect.
Oh, that's really nice to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really perfect for that. What are you most proud of when you look back over the decades? What are you proud of?
Some of the fashion shows we did actually were pretty good. I mean, again, they're teamwork events, and I think that's what I've liked about them, as well as the final outcome. Proud of keeping going. I don't think any one particular item.
Mm,
I mean, I think that Frank backpack with the two pockets is kind of our calling card, even if it's not the number one seller. It's a good seller constantly.
yeah.
And in some ways, when you have a range of things which is sort of constant, it's difficult to make room for other things, which is a bit of a challenge sometimes because you can't drop something in favor of something that you haven't tried. So you have to try other things a bit at a time. Sometimes put them in and then take them out again if they're not responded to.
I love the wax.
The wax cotton is our most successful stuff, and I think basically we're probably going to grow that more because we seem to know how to handle it.
And when do you remember having that first moment of inspiration with the wax cotton of like, were you at a fabric fair or were you kind of out and about?
Yeah, well, when I first started making bags, they were leather. They were all I just made like half a dozen leather bags, and they were made a bit like clothing because I'd never made anything in leather before. I've made some clothes a bit, but and so there was a bit of a point of difference about them because they were softer than bags seemed to be quite hard at that
Yeah,
time. And we used leathers that were quite sort of natural in finish rather than stiff or hard because they were more like fabric. And then that played back into the wax fabric because some of the leathers sort of aged in a similar way to the wax cotton. And I think maybe that aging thing is also ours to own, if you like, the sort of the getting comfy of of a leather or a material become something you want to touch.
and it's interesting that whole kind of I'm just hearing from my kind of perspective of just aging anyway and in our lives and becoming more comfortable with who we are. I love that this kind of like a dual storyline there almost of as the bag becomes more relaxed, potentially you also become more relaxed as a person.
Yeah, I mean, you become less stressed by things going wrong. You become a bit less, well, if that's not right, then what was the best we can make of it?
Yeah.
Or, that sort of attitude, I suppose.
Are you
Unless you become more neurotic.
which way have you gone, Ali? What do you think?
I think I'm more relaxed,
Mm.
but also I find it difficult to not do anything. So maybe I'm more neurotic as well.
And what does success look like for you these days, and how has that changed over the years?
And what does it look like? Sales, I suppose, are success. That's the proof of the pudding, isn't it?
Mhm.
Nice comments from people. What else? I suppose, I don't
What
know.
about for yourself as a person? When do you feel most successful, and has that changed over the years?
When do I feel successful? I don't know how to answer that
I
actually.
suppose for me, feeling successful has changed because before I would have thought it was the money or the status, whereas success for me now is having that a career that connects me with interesting people, that
Yeah.
I'm helping change people's lives, and that I can also be around as a mother, and I feel slightly less pressure on I suppose, the traditional routes of success. And I just wondered if I spoke with you at say 30, 40, would success and what you said success would be feel different to what success feels like now?
Uh, I don't know if I've really concentrated on. I've never had a real target, which is possibly why I'm I've sort of been opportunist rather than
Hmm. Yes.
I'm driven to keep going. I don't know. I mean, I've had some big achievements. I had a 7-year thing with Apple doing bags for them. We sold thousands of those bags, but I didn't want to become a bag supplier to Apple, and I wanted. I think success is independence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that.
Mm, I think that's wonderful. And I love that you do so many incredible collaborations and they all
Yeah,
feel true to you. I mean, even recently, the one that you did with Beck, which you've got some
yeah,
beautiful bags that you guys have done together.
yeah. She's great. She's worked very hard on those.
Yeah. How do you approach a collaboration like that?
Well, when she first started, she was wandering around in Richmond Park or wherever she is with the same old bag on all the time. I sent her a message saying, "I think you need a new bag. Would you like to choose one?" So she did, and then we just sort of kept following. But she still kept wearing that one bag, which we had discontinued, which is why I said, well, should we just try and do something together? I mean, it wasn't a sort of, I didn't do a deck or anything like that. We knew each other by what we each did. I could see she had a number of followers. I mean, she really grew quite quickly last year.
Yeah.
And we'd been hacked. Our Instagram had been hacked 3 years ago or something. And so we were starting from zero. It's got us some new followers and whatnot. And so that's what Brompton's designer was in our shop one day
Mhm.
talking. And I said, well, what about a collaboration then? And that gradually happened. Barber, that happened through a manufacturing
Yeah.
connection. So now they come out of different
Well, what's
places.
really what I love about what you're saying, and it speaks a lot to kind of how my business has evolved. Is, I think I've worked with a lot of business coaches, and there's a lot of planning and being very, militant and precise about who you're approaching. I've kind of, over the last few years, really developed my more spiritual side of me, and the kind of trusting in the universe. And like you say, the kind of opportunist moments where something comes up that you hadn't really anticipated. It takes you off in this really natural, lovely direction. And so what you're saying is really speaking to my lived experience as well about building my business. I really,
I won't take any blame for anything that you do wrong.
all right, I won't put it on you. But I think it's refreshing to hear that actually sometimes following the opportunities and the moments that appear and following that intuition perhaps is a good way to go.
Yeah, I like it when things like that happen. I don't know. It's good to be available to take things if they come up,
Yeah, I think so.
whether it's travel.
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes we try and control a lot and force it, and actually rolling with the punches is a kind of, a more refreshing way to go.
Yeah.
And what are you most excited about at the moment when it comes to, I don't know, style in general, or the business, or what is kind of, maybe it's art. Is there anything you've seen recently? Is there anything that's kind of filling your soul up? Maybe it's just this time of year.
I'm going to see Kerry James Marshall exhibition tomorrow.
Where's
Hope going to be in at Royal Academy. £23 a ticket.
good?
Is it?
All right, is that expensive?
Seems a lot to me. What else?
And have you seen her work before? Have you seen her work before?
It's a
It's a
he.
he.
Only in pictures on the internet and whatnot, but it looks quite humorous and colourful. Yeah, I like a bit of humour. What else am I excited about? I mean, I do look at fashion shows
Mhm.
and think increasingly how some of them are lovely, but who are these people? I don't know. I mean, it's a bit like wealth. The divide between the rich and the poor is like the divide between people on catwalks and people going to work. It's sort of nothing to do with each other. So I'm sort of interested to watch that the trends on the street bear very little relevance to the dressing up fashion show things. I think the fashion show that I thought was interesting this time was Balenciaga.
Yeah, I agree.
I loved all that was quite a lot of drenched colour, textural sort of fabrics made into texture and sort of contrast,
Yeah.
but really clean.
Quite enjoyed the new direction of Chanel as well, with
I've seen that.
that was like because they did a lot of like shirts and t-shirts with then a lot
Uh,
featured kind of dresses and skirts,
yes, that was,
which
yeah, no,
felt quite fresh for Chanel.
lots of skirts, yeah. Wasn't that Chanel? It's funny because it could have been Yves Saint Laurent, couldn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, Yves Saint Laurent I did enjoy, but it was a lot
What's
staged.
it
It was
like?
a lot very structured, and it's making me want to. I've just got this menswear shirt from Vinted, and it's making me want to try it with a stronger
Shoulder.
shoulder.
I can't remember if I'm getting those two mixed up.
We need to go back and have a little look together, and we'll send over our favorite. You've seen things before when you see stuff when stuff comes.
No, not necessarily. I can get really excited about something if it looks. I mean, we've all seen everything before, but somebody twists it around and can do some ingenious. I mean, I think that Balenciaga guy is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And do you feel like London still inspires you?
It's difficult in some ways. I don't want too much inspiration because I just get annoyed if I can't make it happen. So we've got to take it quite slowly to not sort of keep doing stuff that is we've got so many customers. We've got already got a collection of a certain size.
Mm.
If we go and add more stuff to it, then we haven't got enough customers for it, sort of thing. But That's sort of the practicality around that. And also, we haven't got the manpower to do that much more. Although, I guess inspired by things. It's a bit like buying things for your house. You can see my place is full of crap. I avoid the sort of places where I would normally not be able to resist some more.
So you've had to slow down the creativity perhaps over the years.
The production of it, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Again, I've found that too. I mean, I never even thought of myself as a creative up until I turned 30 and I read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic. And even though I'd worked in the fashion industry and retail, retail manager for a long time, I'd gone to a very academic school. So I'd never thought that I was a creative. And then when I
Yeah.
suddenly opened this door to creativity, it was like my brain didn't stop with the ideas. And even now I have to really tone it down because actually I've got to keep a business running. I've got to be regular. I've got to be consistent.
Are you just working on your own?
Yeah, I've got a couple of interns, but they're sporadic. They do about 3 to 6 months. Yeah. It's all me. Yeah. So
Yeah, well done.
thank you. So yeah, I understand the creativity kind of sometimes wanting to burst out. A lot of it for me
Yeah.
probably gets directed into my clients, which helps them.
How many clients do you have?
I mean, at any one time, I probably have about 10 that I'm working with. So for some of them, I work as a style coach. I work with them on longer, kind of 3 to 6 month projects, because really for me, it's not just about me telling them what they should wear. It's about them developing their own sense of style and the instinct and the practice of getting dressed every day. Like everything you said at the beginning about it's got to feel right. A lot of
Yeah.
women ignore that feeling and they just get on with it anyway. And then they don't feel good. So it's about practicing how to feel aligned and not just it'll do. It's about
Yeah.
being creative with what you've got and knowing how to put colors together, things that again you will do so instinctively and such intuition. And a lot of people don't have that or have ignored it or had it suppressed for reasons.
Or scared of
Or
it? Yeah.
scared, yeah, scared to be seen, wasn't safe to be seen, trying to fit in with the Joneses, or
Yeah. Don't like to experiment. Well, yeah. It's funny. I mean, I think I love clothes.
why do you love them?
It's just a self-expression, I suppose. And I love it when I've got something on that I feel good about, and then I can go and enter some because I go on my own quite often to things. So it does make you feel confident, humorous. Like I think people will have they're not going to be overly sort of challenged. I don't look too fierce sometimes, but maybe I look too weird for some people. I don't know, and they keep away.
But you stay true to you, and that's
I try. Yeah.
yeah. Have you had, looking back in your life, have you had moments where you feel like you have lost yourself and your style, or do you feel like you've pretty much been able to stay connected?
Probably, a bit around being pregnant or after being pregnant. Actually,
Yeah.
I remember going on I think it was after my second child, and I went on some TV program with Paula Yates hosting it that went out in Japan in the middle of the night or something. And she was just so gorgeous. I just felt like a ugly blob. So I think, yeah, I just had no confidence then. And she was so chirpy and chatty.
Yeah.
I felt tongue-tied and out of my depth.
And do you remember when you started to kind of find yourself again after those moments? What would be your advice to people if they were feeling that?
Just wait, ride it out. Ride it out, Dan.
Is that is that something you work with?
Well, I think that's sort of something that I think you have to do with kids. You just have to not try and beat it, just sort of let it go a bit until you get your mojo back.
Yeah. Maybe go and buy yourself a new pair of trainers.
Yeah.
Amazing, Ali. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate you taking the time because I know how busy you are. But I would love everyone and encourage everyone to go and check out Ally Cappelino bags. I will link everything in the show.
And the shop. Come visit us.
Yeah, tell us, where are your stores?
No, we just have one, Calvert Avenue in Shoreditch, the prettiest street in Shoreditch. Yeah, number 9 Calvert Avenue.
Amazing. Everyone, if you're in London, go and visit Ally Cappellino. There is a shop in Brighton that stock a few of your bags as well, Fold.
Yeah, they've just had some more.
Great. Yeah, we love. So I always
Oh, the
take clients in there for your people.
so do you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. All right.
The pleasure. Thank you.
The woman that you know is within. So please get in touch in all those places. And if I can be of help to you and your style, then do not hesitate. Your time is now.